Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So picture this, you're in Japan, you've just had the most incredible bowl of ramen you've ever tasted in your life. Seriously, it's life-changing. You're floating on a cloud of delicious broth. The service was impeccable, the chef was a genius. The whole experience was just... So you do what any grateful person would do, right? You leave a generous tip on the table. But then, as you're walking away, you hear someone running after you, shouting. You turn around, and it's your server, holding out your money, looking totally confused and a little bit flustered. What gives? Well, get ready, because we're about to dive into that and a whole bunch of other things that might surprise you about Japan. It's a country with some seriously fascinating customs and unspoken rules that are completely different from what many of us are used to. From the way you pour a drink to what you do on a crowded train, there's a whole world of etiquette to explore. It's not just about being polite, it's about a deep cultural mindset that values harmony, respect, and the group over the individual. It's wild, it's interesting, and honestly, knowing this stuff can save you from some seriously awkward moments, so grab a snack, but don't eat it while you're walking, and settle in. We're going to unpack 15 things you absolutely should not do in Japan, starting with that very confusing, no tipping rule. Trust me, you're not going to want to miss this. It's going to be fun, it's going to be a little weird, and you'll come out of it ready to be the most respectful tourist Japan has ever seen. Let's get into it. Alright, let's tackle the big one right away. No tipping. I know, for a lot of us, it feels almost rude to tip, especially for great service. But in Japan, it's the exact opposite. Tipping can actually be seen as a little insulting. Why? It all comes down to a concept called omotenashi, which is this incredible idea of wholehearted hospitality. The service you receive isn't just a job, it's an art form, a point of pride. The price you see on the menu is the full price. It includes everything: the amazing food, the pristine environment, and the impeccable service. They believe good service is the standard, not something you pay extra for. It's just part of the deal. When you try to leave a tip, you're kind of breaking that beautiful social contract. It can cause confusion and even embarrassment for the staff. They might think you overpaid by mistake, or that you're suggesting their salary isn't enough to cover their hard work, which can be seen as a bit demeaning. They're not working for that extra cash. They're working to provide you with the best possible experience because that's what their culture and their job demands. So, the best way to show your appreciation? A simple, polite gochi-susama deshita, which means, thank you for the meal. It's respectful, it's appreciated, and it won't have anyone chasing you down the street. Now, this next one is a bit more controversial and, honestly, pretty shocking to a lot of people from outside Japan. There are still a few sacred places in the country where women are not allowed. The most famous example is Mount Omen, a sacred mountain for practitioners of a religion called Shugendo. For over 1,300 years, a ban has been in place prohibiting women from climbing past a certain point. The official reasons given are steeped in ancient tradition, with beliefs that women could be a distraction to the male monks undergoing strict ascetic training on the mountain. It's a rule that has been in place for centuries and is deeply tied to their religious practices. Similarly, there's Okinoshima, an entire island that's a UNESCO World Heritage Site, where women are completely banned. Only men, specifically Shinto priests, are allowed to set foot on it after undergoing purification rituals. These are not just old, forgotten rules. They're actively enforced today. As you can imagine, this sparks a lot of debate. Critics, both within Japan and internationally, point to this as a clear example of gender discrimination that has no place in the 21st century. Supporters, however, argue it's a matter of preserving religious freedom and ancient traditions. It's a complex issue where tradition clashes head-on with modern values of equality. You've probably heard the term karoshi, which literally translates to death from overwork. It's a tragic and very real phenomenon in Japan. For decades, the work culture has been intense, with employees expected to put in incredibly long hours and often forgo vacations to show loyalty to their company. It was seen as a virtue, a sign of a dedicated employee. This post-war economic boom mentality created a generation of salarymen who basically lived at the office. The pressure was, and in many places still is, immense, leading to stress, illness, and in the most extreme cases, death. It became a serious social crisis that the country had to confront. In response, the Japanese government finally had to step in. They passed laws aimed at work-style reform, putting caps on overtime hours and making it mandatory for employees to use their paid vacation days. Think about that. A law forcing you to take a vacation. Companies are now facing fines if they don't comply. And get this, they're even getting creative with technology. Some offices have drones that fly around after hours, blasting music to encourage people to go home. It's like a little robot party police. It's a slow process to change a culture that's been ingrained for so long, but it's a definite move to protect workers' well-being. Okay, let's lighten it up a bit. So, picture this. You're at a dinner or a bar with Japanese friends or colleagues. There's a bottle of sake, or maybe a pitcher of beer on the table, and your glass is empty. Your first instinct is probably to just grab the bottle and pour one for yourself, right? Well, actually, that's wrong. Oh, so wrong. In Japan, you never ever pour your own drink when you're in a group. It's a huge social faux pas. The custom is that you're responsible for keeping everyone else's glass full, and they, in turn, are responsible for keeping yours full. It's really this constant beautiful dance of looking out for one another, and it's not just about being polite, it's a gesture that builds camaraderie and strengthens social bonds. When you pour for someone, you're showing them respect and attentiveness. When someone pours for you, you should hold your glass with both hands to receive it, another sign of respect. Pouring your own drink can come across as a little bit selfish or antisocial, like you're not participating in the group dynamic. It signals that you're not paying attention to the needs of those around you. So, keep an eye on your neighbor's glass, and trust that they'll be keeping an eye on yours. It's teamwork, but with beer. We've all been there. You're on a crowded train or bus, and you finally snag a seat. It's a small victory, but then at the next stop, an elderly person gets on, or maybe a pregnant woman or someone with a disability. In many cultures, the polite thing to do is offer them your seat. In Japan, this isn't just polite, it's a deeply ingrained social expectation. The seats marked with priority seating signs, the yusanseki, are obviously reserved for those who need them most. But even in the regular seating areas, it's common courtesy to give up your spot. It's a non-verbal sign of respect for your elders and consideration for those in need. What's interesting is how it plays out. Often a younger person will just stand up and walk away from the seat without making eye contact, leaving it open for the elderly person to take. It's done subtly, without a big song and dance. Refusing to give up your seat, especially if you're young and able-bodied, is seen as incredibly rude and selfish. It goes against the societal value of taking care of one another and respecting those who have come before you. People might not say anything to you directly, confrontation is generally avoided, but you will absolutely get some serious side-eye. It's a silent judgment that you definitely want to avoid. This is one of the first cultural rules you'll encounter in Japan, and honestly, it's a big one. Wearing shoes indoors is a major no-no. When you enter a Japanese home, you are always expected to take off your shoes in the genkan, the entryway. You'll usually see a small stepped-up area, and that's the dividing line. Shoes stay on the lower level, and you step up into the main living area, often into slippers that the host provides. This isn't just a quirky tradition, it has very practical and symbolic roots. Japan is a country where people often sit and even sleep on tatami mat floors, so keeping those floors clean is essential. The rule actually extends beyond homes. You'll also need to remove your shoes at many traditional restaurants, especially those with tatami seating, temples, and even some schools and clinics. It's all about separating the outside world, which is considered dirty, from the inside world, which is considered clean. Wearing your street shoes past the designated point is like tracking mud all over someone's clean bed sheets. And here's a pro tip. Make sure your socks are clean and don't have any holes, because they will be on display. There are even special toilet slippers that you switch into just for using the bathroom, and forgetting to switch back is a classic embarrassing mistake. If you've ever been on a train in Tokyo during rush hour, you might notice something strange. It can be packed shoulder to shoulder with people, but it is eerily quiet. This is because speaking loudly in public, especially on public transportation or in other enclosed spaces, like restaurants and cafes, is strongly frowned upon. In Japanese culture, there's a huge emphasis on public harmony and not disturbing others. Your personal phone conversation or your loud, hilarious story is considered a private matter, and broadcasting it for everyone to hear is seen as inconsiderate and disruptive to the peaceful atmosphere. This concept is called wei, or social harmony. The idea is that the comfort of the group is more important than the expression of the individual. People are expected to be mindful of their surroundings and how their actions might affect others. You'll see signs on trains reminding people to set their phones to silent mode and refrain from talking on them. It's not that people are unfriendly, they just value public tranquility. If you do need to talk, you're expected to do so in a low, hushed tone. So if you're traveling with friends, resist the urge to shout across the train car. Save the big laughs and loud chats for a more private setting. So you want to ask for directions, or maybe point out something interesting you see across the street. Your natural instinct is to just point with your index finger, right? Well, in Japan, you'll want to stop yourself. Pointing directly at people with your index finger is considered very aggressive and rude. It's almost like a form of accusation or command, and it can be quite jarring for Japanese people. It's just not done. Even pointing at objects can be seen as a bit impolite and lacking grace, depending on the context. It's just a gesture that's seen as too direct and coarse for polite society. So, what do you do instead? If you need to indicate a person, the polite way is to use a gentle, open-handed gesture. Sort of like you're presenting them. You hold your hand out, palm up, and gracefully motion in their general direction. It's a much softer, more respectful way to draw attention. If you're indicating an object or direction, you'd use a similar open-handed gesture. It might feel a little theatrical at first, like you're a game show host revealing a prize, but it's the culturally appropriate way to do it. It's a small change, but it makes a big difference in how you're perceived. This one might sound a little strange, but it's a big deal for public etiquette. You've got a cold, your nose is running. What do? In many Western countries, you just pull out a tissue and give your nose a good loud blow. In Japan, doing this in public is considered quite gross and impolite. The sound itself is seen as disruptive, and the act is just, well, it's seen as something that should be done in private. It falls into the same category as other bodily functions that you wouldn't perform in front of other people. It's just not considerate to your fellow citizens. So what's the alternative? Sniffling. Yes, you heard me. While we might find constant sniffling annoying, in Japan, it's the much more socially acceptable option compared to a full-on public nose blow. People will sniffle away on the train, in the office, wherever. The proper etiquette is to discreetly dab at your nose with a tissue if you must, but if you really need to blow your nose, you should excuse yourself and go to the restroom to do it in private. Many people in Japan wear surgical masks when they have a cold, which is not just to prevent spreading germs, but also to discreetly manage a runny nose. In many big cities around the world, eating on the go is just a part of life. You grab a slice of pizza or a hot dog and eat it while you're walking to your next destination. It's efficient. In Japan, however, eating while walking, or arukigui, is generally seen as poor manners. There isn't a strict law against it, but it's a strong social custom. The thinking is that you can't properly appreciate your food if you're rushing around. Eating should be a focused activity. More practically, it's also about cleanliness. Walking while eating increases the risk of spilling food or dropping trash, creating a mess for others. You'll notice that even at street food stalls or festivals, people will buy their food and then stand to the side, the side, near the stall to eat it before they move on. Vending machines are everywhere, but people will typically stand next to the machine to finish their drink before walking away and recycling the container. The exception is on long-distance trains like the Shinkansen, where eating special ekaben, station bento boxes, is a beloved tradition. But on your average city street, find a bench or a designated area to enjoy your snack. It's a sign of respect for the food and for the public space you're in. If there's one thing that Japan does with almost military precision, it's lining up. Whether it's for a bus, a popular ramen shop, or the train platform, queuing is a non-negotiable part of daily life. The concept of waiting your turn is taken very, very seriously. Cutting in line is one of the rudest things you can possibly do. It's a fundamental violation of the principles of fairness and respect for others that underpin so much of Japanese society. Everyone waits, and everyone gets their turn, in the order they arrived. It's simple, it's orderly, and it works. You'll see painted lines on train platforms showing you exactly where to stand, to wait for the doors to open. People will form neat, single-file lines without any pushing or shoving. When the train arrives, they wait for everyone to get off before they begin to board in an orderly fashion. It's a beautiful, civilized dance. Trying to muscle your way to the front or join your friend who's further up in the queue will earn you some incredibly disapproving looks and maybe even a quiet, polite correction from someone. The rule is simple: find the back of the line and patiently wait. It's a sign that you respect the system and everyone else in it. Taking out the trash in your home country might be as simple as throwing everything into one bag. In Japan, get ready for a whole new world of garbage. Garbage sorting, or gomi bunbetsu, is an incredibly complex and strict system. Ignoring the rules isn't just frowned upon. You can actually get your trash rejected, left on your doorstep with a notice of shame. It's a serious business. The rules can vary from one city or even one neighborhood to the next, but generally, you'll have to separate your trash into multiple categories: burnable, non-burnable, plastics, glass bottles, pet bottles, cans, and more. It doesn't stop there. You have to wash out bottles and containers. You have to remove the labels and caps from PET bottles and sort them separately. You can only put the trash out on specific days for each category, often in designated color-coded bags. It's a system that requires a lot of effort from every single resident, but the result is one of the most efficient recycling programs and cleanest countries in the world. As a tourist, you might not have to deal with the full system, but you are expected to hold on to your trash until you find the appropriate set of sorted bins. Don't just dump your stuff in the first. Can you see? If you're invited to someone's home in Japan, it's customary to bring a small gift, or temiyage, to show your appreciation. This is pretty common in many cultures. However, in Japan, there's an extra layer of etiquette involved. You can't just bring anything. For instance, bringing a random snack you picked up at the corner store might not be the best move. The gift should be thoughtful. Often, this means bringing a local specialty from your hometown or a nicely packaged box of sweets or crackers from a department store. Presentation is key. The gift should be beautifully wrapped. But here's the tricky part. Bringing food can sometimes be a bit of a burden for your host, especially if they've already planned a full meal. Showing up with a homemade casserole could throw their entire menu into disarray. That's why it's often best to bring something that doesn't need to be served right away, like a sealed box of cookies or a bottle of sake. When you give the gift, it's polite to be humble about it, saying something like, "Tsumaranai mono desu ga," which means, it's nothing special, but, even if it's a very nice gift. This humility is a sign of good manners. Visiting an onsen, a natural hot spring, is a quintessential Japanese experience. It's incredibly relaxing and honestly, kind of spiritual, but there is one absolute, unbreakable rule you must follow before you even think about dipping a toe into that heavenly hot water. You must wash your body thoroughly. The onsen bath itself is for soaking and relaxing, not for cleaning. The water is shared by everyone, so the expectation is that you enter the water already completely clean. It's a matter of hygiene and respect for everyone else who is using the bath. Before you get to the main bath, you'll find a washing area with small stools, faucets, and buckets. You are expected to sit on the stool and use the soap and shampoo provided to scrub yourself from head to toe. Make sure you rinse off all the soap completely before you head to the main pool. Getting into the onsen with soap still on your body is a major faux pas. Think of it like this. You wouldn't jump into a clean swimming pool after rolling around in the mud, right? Same principle. The washing ritual is just as much a part of the onsen experience as the soak itself. We already talked about being quiet on trains in general, but Japan takes it a step further with designated quiet zones. This isn't just an unspoken rule, it's often an explicit one. In many public spaces like libraries, certain museum exhibits, temples and shrines, silence is golden and absolutely expected. These are places of contemplation, study, or worship, and making noise is seen as incredibly disrespectful to the purpose of the space and to the other people there. Your phone should be on silent, and conversations should be non-existent or kept to an absolute bare minimum whisper. Even on the Shinkansen, the bullet train, there are often quiet cars where conversations and any other noise are discouraged for passengers who want to work or rest in peace. The general principle is to always be aware of your environment. If a place feels quiet and contemplative, it probably is for a reason. Blasting music through your headphones so loudly that others can hear it, or having a loud chat on your phone, violates the serene atmosphere that is so highly valued. It's all about being a considerate member of the public and recognizing when it's time to just be quiet and enjoy the peace. And there you have it, 15 things that can get you some serious side-eye in Japan. It's a lot to take in, I know, from not tipping to pouring drinks for your friends to the incredibly detailed art of sorting trash. It might seem like a minefield of rules, but when you boil it all down, it really comes from one beautiful place, a deep, profound respect. Respect for others, respect for public spaces, respect for tradition, and respect for social harmony. It's not about restricting people. It's about creating a society where everyone can coexist as comfortably and peacefully as possible. Thinking about these customs really makes you look at your own culture, doesn't it? It makes you think about what we value and how we show consideration for others. And that's what's so amazing about traveling and learning about different places. It's not just about seeing cool sights, it's about expanding your perspective. So if you're planning a trip to Japan, don't be intimidated by these rules. See them as a fun challenge, a way to connect more deeply with the place you're visiting. Japanese people are incredibly welcoming and will appreciate any effort you make to respect their ways. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you found this as fascinating as I did. Which of these customs surprised you the most? Let me know down in the comments, I'd love to read them. If you enjoyed the video, you know the drill. Give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next adventure. Until next time, travel safe, be respectful, and as they say in Japan, gochu-sama deshita. Thanks for watching.